The video notification popped up on my phone at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I knew, even before I pressed play, that my life was about to detonate. I was sitting in my home office, 3 monitors glowing in the darkness, debugging code for a client deadline. Evelyn had said she was at yoga. Extended session, she'd texted. Don't wait up. The notification was from her Instagram. She'd tagged me. My finger hovered over the screen. Something in my gut twisted, that primal instinct that knows danger before the brain catches up. I pressed play. The video opened on Evelyn's face. Perfect makeup, ring light catching her eyes just right. She was in our bedroom, sitting on the edge of our bed in that black dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. Hey everyone, she said, voice breathy and rehearsed. So, I need to talk about something real today. Something raw. I turned up the volume. I've been living a lie, she continued, and I think it's time to be honest. About my marriage, about Kevin. My name in her mouth sounded like a curse. The truth is, I've been unhappy for months, maybe years, and I've been seeing someone else. The camera pulled back. There was a guy sitting next to her. Young, maybe 28, expensive haircut, designer hoodie. His hand was on her thigh. This is Jake, Evelyn said, and he's shown me what it means to actually be valued. To be seen. Jake smiled at the camera. We wanted to be transparent about this. Kevin's a good guy, Evelyn continued, but good isn't enough anymore. I need passion. I need someone who gets me, you know? Someone who supports my dreams instead of just existing next to me. I watched myself get dismantled in high definition. So I'm doing something scary, she said. I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing happiness. And this Saturday, at Madison's party, I'm going to officially end things with Kevin. Publicly. Because I'm done hiding who I really am. She looked directly into the camera. At me. I hope you guys will support me through this journey. It's going to be hard, but it's necessary. Sometimes you have to hurt people to save yourself. The video ended. Duration: 4 minutes, 37 seconds. Posted 6 minutes ago. Already 43 comments, mostly fire emojis and "You go girl" messages. I sat there in the darkness, phone still glowing in my hand. She'd posted it publicly, tagged me, made sure I'd see it. This wasn't an accident. This was a show. I clicked through to her profile. The video had been carefully edited, transitions smooth, background music swelling at the emotional moments. She'd spent time on this, planned it, scripted it. My wife had turned our marriage into content. I should have felt devastated, betrayed, destroyed. Instead, I felt something else entirely. Clarity. For months, I'd been questioning myself. The distance between us, her constant phone checking, the way she'd recoil when I touched her. I'd thought it was me, my fault, something I'd failed to provide. But this video proved what I'd suspected all along. Evelyn hadn't fallen out of love with me. She'd fallen in love with herself, with her image, with the performance of her life for an audience of strangers. I was just a prop in her narrative, the boring husband she'd outgrown, the obstacle to her authentic self. And Saturday, 3 days from now, she was planning to humiliate me in front of everyone we knew. Film it, post it, turn my pain into engagement metrics. I opened my laptop and started a new document. Then I opened another window and pulled up her Instagram profile. Started scrolling back through months of posts. Patterns emerged, the gradual shift in her content, the increasing focus on living authentically and choosing yourself, the subtle digs at unnamed people holding her back. She'd been building this narrative for months, setting the stage, priming her audience. I was the villain in a story she'd been writing long before she'd ever met Jake. I picked up my phone and started typing, not to her, to Matt. Need your help with something. Can you come over tomorrow? His reply came instantly. Everything okay? Not really, but it will be. I sent the message and leaned back in my chair, mind already working through the variables. Evelyn thought she was 10 steps ahead, orchestrating her perfect exit. She'd underestimated one crucial thing. I was a software engineer. I solved problems for a living, complex, multi-layered problems that required patience, precision, and the ability to see patterns others missed. She'd just given me all the data I needed. Matt showed up at 7 a.m. with coffee and concern written across his face. He'd been my friend since college, the kind of guy who'd help you move a body without asking questions. Not that I was planning anything like that. Not exactly. "You look like hell," he said, handing me a cup. "Didn't sleep." I pulled up the video on my laptop. "Watch this." He watched in silence, his expression shifting from confusion to anger to something close to disgust. "Jesus Christ," he muttered. "When did she post this?" "Last night, while I was in the next room." "You didn't know she was filming?" "I didn't know about any of it. Well, I suspected the affair. But this?" I gestured at the screen. "This is next level." Matt ran his hand through his hair. "What are you going to do?" "That depends on you. I need information." He raised an eyebrow. "What kind of information?" "The kind you're good at finding." Matt worked in digital marketing, had connections everywhere, knew how to dig up dirt without leaving fingerprints. "I need everything you can find on Jake. Full name, where he works, who he knows, what skeletons he's hiding." "Kevin." "And I need access to Evelyn's cloud storage. She uses the same password for everything. I just need you to help me document what's there before she changes it." Matt set down his coffee. "You're planning something." "I'm protecting myself." "By doing what, exactly?" I met his eyes. "She's planning to destroy me publicly on Saturday. Turn me into a cautionary tale for her followers. I'm not going to let that happen." "So, you're going to what? Get revenge?" "I'm going to give her a choice. Walk away quietly, or I expose everything. Her manipulations, her lies, the way she's been using people for content. All of it." Matt was quiet for a long moment. "You sure about this? Once you go down this road?" "She already went down it. She filmed a breakup announcement with her affair partner in our bed and posted it online. I'm just refusing to be a victim in her story." He nodded slowly. "All right. Give me 24 hours. After Matt left, I sat down and started making lists. Everything I knew about Evelyn's business, her clients, her partnerships, her income streams. She made decent money as a social media strategist, helped small businesses build their online presence, managed accounts, created content calendars. She was good at it too. Had over 100 clients at last count. But her personal brand was her real asset. 80,000 followers on Instagram. 30,000 on TikTok. Brands sent her products to review. She got invited to exclusive events. Had started doing speaking engagements about authentic storytelling. The irony was suffocating. Her entire career was built on authenticity, and it was all performance. I spent the day digging through our shared files, found her contracts, her client lists, her financial records. She'd been meticulous about keeping everything organized, made my job easier. By evening, I had a complete picture of her professional life. Every relationship, every revenue stream, every vulnerability. My phone buzzed. "Matt. Got something. You're going to want to see this." "On my way." I grabbed my keys and headed out. Matt's apartment was across town, a converted loft in the arts district. He let me in, led me to his computer setup. "Okay," he said, pulling up files. "Jake Richmond, 28, lives downtown in the Meridian Tower, drives a Tesla, works in cryptocurrency trading." "Legitimate trading?" "That's where it gets interesting." Matt clicked through windows. "On the surface, yes. He's registered with the proper authorities, has all the right licenses. But dig deeper and things get murky." He pulled up a blockchain explorer, showed me transaction patterns. "See these? He's running pump and dump schemes. Small scale, hard to trace, but they're there. He uses multiple wallets, creates artificial demand for low-cap tokens, then sells at peak. Made over $2 million in the last 18 months doing this. That's illegal. Extremely. But proving it in court would be difficult. The transactions are spread across multiple platforms, different identities. He's good at covering his tracks. Not good enough, apparently. Matt grinned. Not good enough. I also found his victims, posted a query on some crypto forums, found 6 people who'd lost significant money following his investment advice. One guy, Thomas Chen, lost $47,000, his daughter's college fund. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Jake told this guy to invest in something he knew would crash? Not just told him, convinced him. There are email chains. Jake was very persuasive, very confident, made it seem like a sure thing. Do you have contact information for these people? I do, but Kevin, what are you planning? Insurance, I said. If Jake won't walk away voluntarily, I need leverage. Matt pulled up another window. Speaking of leverage, I got into Evelyn's cloud storage. You were right. Same password for everything. And man, you need to see what I found. He opened a folder labeled Content Strategy 2024. Inside were spreadsheets, dozens of them. Every post she'd made in the last year was documented. Date, time, caption, predicted engagement, actual engagement, notes for improvement. But that wasn't the worst part. There was a subfolder labeled Kevin Ark. Matt opened it. My stomach dropped. It was a timeline. Starting 6 months ago. Posts she'd made about feeling unfulfilled. About questioning her life choices. About discovering what she really wanted. Each post was marked with analytics. Which ones performed best? Which emotional beats resonated with her audience? She'd been beta testing my destruction. There's more, Matt said quietly. He opened a document titled Saturday Planning. It was a script, an actual script. What she would say, how she would say it, camera positions, lighting notes, predicted responses, and prepared comebacks. She'd even written out how she expected me to react. Kevin will likely be shocked, possibly angry. Capture this. Genuine emotion performs 3x better than staged content. If he tries to argue, redirect to prepared talking points about emotional growth and choosing myself, I read it twice. Then again. She's insane, Matt said. This is sociopathic. No, I said slowly. It's strategic. She sees people as content opportunities. I'm not her husband. I'm a character in her narrative, a plot device. What are you going to do? I looked at the screen, at months of calculated manipulation laid out in spreadsheets and timelines. I'm going to give her exactly what she wants, I said. A story worth telling. Work was impossible Wednesday. I went through the motions, attended meetings, wrote code that probably had more bugs than features. My mind was elsewhere, running scenarios, calculating outcomes. Evelyn texted me twice, once to ask if I'd seen her post, once to say she'd be home late. I didn't respond to either. At lunch, I drove to Jake's address. Matt had come through fast. Full name, workplace, apartment location, even his parking spot. Jake Richmond, 28, worked in cryptocurrency trading, lived in a high-rise downtown that cost more per month than most people made in a year. The Meridian Tower. 43 stories of glass and steel. Doorman, valet parking. The kind of place where you needed to be buzzed up by residents. I sat in my car across the street and watched. Jake's Tesla was in the garage, visible through the glass walls. Custom blue, vanity plates that read, Cryptog. I laughed, couldn't help it. This was the guy Evelyn chose, this walking crypto bro cliché with his designer hoodies and his blockchain portfolio. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Kevin Wright? A woman's voice, older, strained. Yes, who's this? My name is Patricia Chen. I got your contact information from someone on a cryptocurrency forum. He said you might be able to help me. The name clicked. Chen. Thomas Chen's wife. Help you with what? I asked carefully. My husband invested our daughter's college fund with a man named Jake Richmond. We lost everything. $47,000. Tom had a breakdown. He's in therapy now, trying to cope with the guilt. But Jake just moved on, made his money, and disappeared. Her voice cracked. We reported it to the authorities, but they said it was too hard to prove, that Tom had made an informed decision, but he didn't. He was lied to, manipulated, and now my daughter might not go to college because of it. I closed my eyes. Mrs. Chen, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how much I can help. I don't need a lawyer. I need someone who can make Jake face consequences. Someone told me you might be in a position to do that. Who told you that? A friend. He said you were looking into Jake, that you might have information that could help. Matt. Matt had reached out to these people. Mrs. Chen, I can't promise anything, but I'll do what I can. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. She hung up. I sat there for a moment, staring at Jake's building, thinking about the Chen family, about Evelyn and her content strategy, about all the people who got hurt when others treated life like a game. Then I started the car and drove to Jake's office. The co-working space was in a converted warehouse, all exposed brick and industrial lighting. Young professionals everywhere, typing on MacBooks, taking calls in phone booths, drinking cold brew coffee like it was water. I found Jake at a standing desk near the windows. He was on his phone, laughing at something, completely relaxed. I walked up and stood there until he noticed me. He pulled out an earbud. Can I help you? Jake Richmond? Yeah. Who are you? Kevin Wright, Evelyn's husband. His expression shifted. Recognition, then something like amusement. Oh, dude. Look, I'm sorry about how this went down, but you know, these things happen. People grow apart. It's nobody's fault. I'd like to talk, I said. Somewhere private. He glanced around, shrugged. Conference room's open. We walked to a small glass-walled room at the back. I closed the door and pulled the blinds. So what do you want? Jake asked, sitting down. Because if you're here to cause problems, I should tell you that Evelyn and I really care about each other. This wasn't some fling. How long have you been seeing her? 3 months. And in those 3 months, did she ever mention that she was planning to turn your relationship into content? He blinked. What? The video she posted, the big reveal on Saturday. Did she tell you that was all part of a content strategy? That she'd been planning it for months? I don't know what you're talking about. I pulled out my phone, showed him screenshots from Evelyn's content calendar. The Kevin arc timeline, the script for Saturday. He read in silence. His face went from confident to confused to something like betrayed. She told me she was in love with me, he said quietly. She's in love with her follower count. You're just the co-star in her story, same as me. He set down the phone. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to understand what you've gotten yourself into. Evelyn doesn't have relationships. She has narrative arcs, and eventually your arc will end too. So what? You want me to break up with her? I want you to make an informed decision, but there's something else you should know. I pulled up the blockchain data Matt had compiled, transaction histories, wallet addresses, email chains with Thomas Chen. You've been running pump and dump schemes for almost 2 years. You've stolen over $2 million from people who trusted you, and I have evidence of all of it. The color drained from his face. Where did you get this? Does it matter? What matters is that I have it. Names, dates, transactions. Everything the SEC would need to prosecute you. This is blackmail. No, this is a negotiation. You end things with Evelyn, today. You tell her it was a mistake, that you're not ready for a relationship. You disappear from her life completely. And if I don't? I send everything to the SEC, the FBI, every financial crimes unit in the state. You'll be arrested within a week. And trust me, judges don't look kindly on cryptocurrency fraud. He leaned back, processing. You're serious. Completely. She'll hate you for this. She already hates me. The difference is, after Saturday I won't care. Jake stared at me for a long moment. I could see him calculating odds, weighing options, trying to find an angle. "What about the evidence?" he asked. "If I do this, you'll destroy it?" "I'll hold on to it. Insurance. As long as you stay away from Evelyn and don't run any more schemes, it stays buried." "That's not a fair deal." "Life's not fair, Jake. You should know that. You've built a career on it." He stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the city. When he turned back, his face was hard. "Fine. I'll end it. But if this comes back on me, it won't. As long as you keep your end of the deal." I headed for the door. "Hey," he called. "For what it's worth, she was using you. She told me the whole thing was for her brand. The drama, the public breakup, all of it. You're better off without her." "I know," I said. "That's why I'm doing this." I left him standing there and walked out of the building. My phone buzzed immediately. Text from Matt. "How'd it go?" "He'll do it. One down. What's next?" Now I deal with Evelyn. Thursday passed in a blur of planning and preparation. I documented everything: screenshots, recordings, transaction histories, built a comprehensive file of evidence, not just about Jake, but about Evelyn's entire content strategy. If she wanted to play games with people's lives, she needed to understand the consequences. Matt came over that evening with pizza and beer. "You're really going through with this?" he asked. "You think I shouldn't?" "I think you're playing with fire. Evelyn's not going to take this well." "She wasn't going to take anything well. At least this way I control the narrative." That sounds like something she'd say. The words hit harder than I expected. "I'm not like her," I said. "Aren't you? You're manipulating people, using leverage to get what you want, orchestrating outcomes. How is that different?" "Because I'm not doing it for likes and followers. I'm doing it for self-preservation." "Are you sure about that?" I set down my beer. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying revenge has a way of becoming its own goal. You started this to protect yourself. But somewhere along the way, it became about hurting her back, and I'm worried you're going to do something you'll regret." She was going to humiliate me in front of everyone we know. She was going to turn my pain into entertainment. "You think I should just let that happen?" "No. I think you should walk away. File for divorce, move out, start over. Don't give her the satisfaction of reacting." That's what she wants. She wants me to be the quiet, boring guy who just fades into the background while she becomes the brave woman who chose herself. So what? Let her have her story. You don't need to be in it. I wanted to argue, wanted to explain why he was wrong, why this was necessary. But part of me wondered if he had a point. "I need to see this through," I said finally. "I need to know that actions have consequences, that you can't just use people and walk away clean." Matt sighed. "All right, but be careful. The line between justice and revenge is thinner than you think." He left around midnight. I stayed up, staring at my laptop, at months of Evelyn's calculated manipulations documented in spreadsheets and scripts. Matt was right about one thing. This had become personal, but I didn't care. Friday morning, Jake called Evelyn. I knew because she called me immediately after, voice shaking with rage. "What did you do?" she demanded. "Good morning to you too." "Jake just broke up with me, said it was a mistake, that he wasn't ready. But I know it was you. What did you say to him?" I had a conversation. "About what?" "About the truth, about what you're really doing. About how you've been using both of us for content." "That's a lie." "Is it? Should we talk about your content calendar? The Kevin arc? The script you wrote for Saturday?" Silence. "How did you—" "Same password for everything, Ev. You should really update your security. You had no right to go through my files. You had no right to turn our marriage into a content strategy. But here we are. I'm coming over. We need to talk about this. I'm not home. I'm staying with Matt. Then I'll come there. You're not invited. Kevin, please, we need to fix this." There's nothing to fix. You made your choice. You chose your followers over your husband. Now you get to live with that. It's not like that. Then what's it like? Explain it to me. Make it make sense. She was quiet for a moment. I needed to grow, to evolve. You were holding me back. How? By supporting your career? By giving you space to build your brand? By being there when you needed me? By being boring? By being content with mediocrity? I wanted more, Kevin. I wanted to be somebody. So you decided to destroy me to get there. I wasn't destroying you. I was freeing both of us. By humiliating me in front of thousands of people. I was being honest about my feelings. That's not humiliation. That's authenticity. The word made me laugh. Authenticity. You've been following a script for months, Evelyn. Everything you do is calculated for maximum engagement. There's nothing authentic about you. That's not fair. Neither is what you did to me. But here we are. What do you want from me? I want you to delete the video, call off the party. We can end this quietly, get divorced, move on with our lives. No. No? I'm not deleting anything. I'm not calling anything off. You want to expose me? Fine, do it. But I'm not letting you control my narrative. Even if it destroys everything you've built? Even if. I'd rather lose it all than let you win. She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, realizing that we'd reached a point of no return. There would be no quiet divorce, no peaceful resolution. This was going to war, and I needed to be ready. Friday evening, I put the final pieces in place, created the video compilation, every screenshot, every message, every piece of evidence narrated and edited into a 6-minute presentation. It was devastating. Showed exactly who Evelyn was behind the carefully curated Instagram posts. Matt watched it with me. Jesus, he said when it finished. You're really going to post this? If I have to. This will destroy her career. She was going to destroy mine. Kevin, I'm serious. Once you do this, there's no going back. Her reputation, her clients, everything, it's all gone. I'm giving her a choice. She can be honest tomorrow, admit what she's done, or I release this. It's on her. And you think she'll choose honesty? I think she'll choose self-preservation. Just like always. Matt shook his head. I hope you're right. Because if you're wrong, you'll both go down. I didn't sleep that night. Lay in Matt's spare bedroom, staring at the ceiling, running through scenarios. Evelyn had surprised me before. She might surprise me again. But I was done being reactive. Done being the supporting character in someone else's story. Tomorrow, I was taking control. Saturday arrived like a storm. The party was at 8 p.m. I showed up at 7:30, alone. Matt had offered to come, but I'd declined. This was something I needed to do myself. Madison's house was in the suburbs, one of those modern designs with too much glass and not enough character. Cars lined the street, music thumped from inside, voices and laughter drifted through open windows. I walked up to the door and rang the bell. Madison answered, surprise flashing across her face. Kevin, I didn't think you'd come. Wouldn't miss it. She hesitated. Look, I don't know what Evelyn's planning, but maybe you should. It's fine, Madison, really. I walked past her into the house. The place was packed. Friends, acquaintances, people I recognized from Evelyn's Instagram. Everyone was dressed like they were attending a premiere, not a house party. Phones out, filming everything, documenting every moment. This wasn't a party. It was a production. I grabbed a beer from the kitchen and found a spot near the back where I could see everything but remain relatively invisible. Evelyn hadn't arrived yet. The anticipation in the room was palpable. People kept checking their phones, refreshing her social media, waiting for updates. They knew something big was coming. She'd teased it all week. At 8:15, she walked in. The room went quiet for a moment, then erupted in greetings and hugs. She looked perfect. Hair styled, makeup flawless, wearing that black dress again. She worked the room like a professional, hugging friends, posing for photos, laughing at jokes. She saw me across the room. Our eyes met. For a moment, I saw something in her expression. Fear, maybe. Or uncertainty. Then it was gone, replaced by that practiced smile. She made her way over, phone in hand, probably filming. "Kevin," she said, "can we talk, privately?" "Sure." We stepped onto the balcony. The city sprawled below us, lights glittering in the darkness. The party continued inside, oblivious. "Last chance," she said quietly. "Walk away now. Let me do this my way. We can both move on." "I'm not here to stop you," I said. "You're not?" "No. I'm here to give you a choice." "What kind of choice?" I pulled out my phone, opened the video file I'd created. "This is a compilation. Every screenshot, every message, every piece of your content calendar. All of it edited together with narration explaining exactly what you've been doing. The manipulation, the strategy, the way you've been using people for engagement." I hit play for just a few seconds, enough for her to see what it contained. Her face went pale. "I can post this right now," I said. "Before you go in there, before you make your announcement. Everyone at this party will see it, everyone following you will see it, and your entire brand will collapse." "You're bluffing." "Am I? You took that gamble with Jake. How'd that work out?" She leaned against the railing, hands shaking. "What do you want?" "I want you to tell the truth." "About what?" "Everything. Go in there, get in front of those cameras and tell everyone exactly what you've been doing. The planning, the manipulation, all of it. Own it. No victim narrative, no spin, just honesty. That'll destroy my credibility. Yes? My followers will abandon me. Probably. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, I'll post this video and you'll lose everything anyway. At least this way, you control the narrative, you admit it, apologize, and maybe you get to rebuild. On something real this time. She stared at me, mascara starting to run. Real tears, for once. "I hate you," she whispered. "I know. This isn't fair. Neither was what you did to me. But here we are. If I do this, you'll delete the video? I'll delete everything, clean slate. And we're done? Completely done?" "Completely." She took a deep breath, wiped her eyes carefully. "Okay. Okay? I'll do it. I'll tell them everything." I hadn't expected her to agree so easily. "You're sure?" "What choice do I have? You've backed me into a corner. You backed yourself into a corner the moment you decided to turn our marriage into content." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and for a moment, I saw the woman I'd married. Before the followers, before the brand, before everything became a performance. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what it's worth, I really am sorry." "We'll see." We went back inside. Madison saw us and gestured toward the living room, where she'd set up ring lights and a backdrop, the production area. "Ready?" she asked Evelyn. Evelyn glanced at me one last time. I nodded. "Ready?" she said. People gathered. Phones came out. The photographer positioned himself. Someone dimmed the overhead lights. This was it, the moment she'd been planning for weeks. Evelyn stood in the center of the room, directly between the ring lights. She looked stunning, professional, like she'd done this 1,000 times. She took a deep breath. "Hey everyone," she started. "Thanks for coming. I know I said I had a big announcement tonight, and I do, but it's not what I originally planned." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "For the past few months, I've been lying to you, to everyone. I've been manufacturing drama for engagement. I planned out my relationship problems like they were content opportunities. I staged emotional moments for better camera angles." The room went silent. I had an affair, yes, but not because I fell in love with someone else, because I thought it would make good content. I thought it would grow my following. I turned my marriage into a story arc, and my husband into a character I could write out when he stopped being useful. She looked directly at me. Kevin is a good man, a kind man, and he deserves so much better than what I did to him. I used him. I manipulated him. I plan to humiliate him publicly tonight, for views and likes and followers. Madison tried to interrupt. Evelyn, what are you? I'm not done. She turned back to the crowd. I've been lying to myself about who I am and what I want. I convinced myself that attention was the same as validation, that followers meant success. But all I've built is an illusion, a carefully curated performance of a life that doesn't exist. She pulled out her phone, opened Instagram, and deleted the breakup video. Live, in front of everyone. I'm taking a break from social media, maybe permanently. I need to figure out who I actually am when nobody's watching, when there are no cameras, no audiences, just me. She set down her phone. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt, everyone I've manipulated, everyone I've used for content. You all deserved better, and I'm going to spend a very long time figuring out how to be a better person. The room erupted. Questions, accusations, phones, filming everything. Madison looked furious. Some people were already posting about it, the irony completely lost on them. Evelyn walked toward the door, eyes down, shoulders hunched. She walked past me without stopping. I watched her leave, watched the party descend into chaos, watched her carefully constructed world collapse in real time. Madison appeared at my elbow. Did you know she was going to do that? Yes. Why would she confess everything? Because I gave her a choice. Be honest or be exposed. You're a bastard, you know that? Maybe. But I'm an honest bastard, which is more than you can say for her. I set down my beer and headed for the door. Matt was waiting outside, leaning against his car. How'd it go? He asked. She did it, confessed everything. You got what you wanted then? Yeah, I did. We drove in silence for a while. You feel better? Matt asked. I thought about it, about Evelyn's confession, about Jake's scared face in that conference room, about the Chen family and their lost college fund. I feel done, I said. That's enough. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Evelyn's confession went viral, but not in the way she'd hoped. Think pieces appeared overnight. The dark side of influencer culture. When content creation becomes manipulation. The authenticity paradox. Her name became a cautionary tale. She lost sponsors. Partnerships dissolved. Her follower count dropped by 40,000 in 3 days. Brands that a D paid her thousands for posts quietly removed her from their campaigns. Her speaking engagements were canceled. The whole empire she'd built crumbled in less than a week. I watched it happen from a distance, like observing a controlled demolition. No satisfaction, no triumph, just the quiet observation of consequences playing out. The divorce papers came a week later. She'd signed everything without argument. No contest, clean split. She kept the apartment. I didn't want it anyway. Too many memories of cameras and ring lights and manufactured moments. Matt helped me find a new place across town. Smaller, older, but mine. No shared history. No ghosts. You're really not going to gloat? He asked, helping me unpack boxes. About what? About winning. About bringing her down. Nobody won, Matt. She destroyed herself. I just refused to go down with her. He set down a box of books. You've changed. How? You're harder now. More calculating. Before all this, you would have just walked away. Before all this, I didn't know what people were capable of. And now you do? Now I know what I'm capable of. That's scarier. Matt left around midnight. I sat in my new apartment, surrounded by unpacked boxes, and pulled out my phone, opened Instagram out of habit, then closed it. Opened it again. Evelyn's profile was still active, but she hadn't posted since the party. Her follower count continued to drop. Comments on her old posts ranged from supportive to vicious. Most people had moved on to the next drama. I deleted the app. Then I pulled up the video I'd made, the compilation of all her manipulations, the nuclear option I'd threatened her with. I watched it once, all 6 minutes. Then I deleted it. Matt was right. Revenge had become its own goal, but keeping that video felt like keeping a weapon I no longer needed. She'd already destroyed herself. Holding on to evidence of it would only keep me tied to her. I needed to be free. 3 weeks after the party, I was working late when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Kevin Wright? Yeah, who's this? Thomas Chen, Patricia's husband. I wanted to thank you. I sat up. Mr. Chen, how did you get this number? Your friend, the one who connected us. He said you were the one who compiled evidence against Jake Richmond. I didn't do anything with it. Actually, you did. Jake contacted me yesterday. He's paying back everyone he scammed. Full amounts plus interest. He said someone convinced him it was the right thing to do. I was quiet for a moment. I didn't know he'd do that. Well, he is. My daughter's going to college after all, and it's because of you. Mr. Chen, I didn't do this for... I know, but I wanted you to know what it means, what you did for us. Thank you. He hung up before I could respond. I sat there in the darkness of my apartment, phone in hand, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Maybe this hadn't all been about revenge. Maybe somewhere in the mess of it all, something good had come out. Or maybe Jake was just scared I'd still turn him in. Either way, the Chen family had their money back. That counted for something. A month passed, then 2. Life developed a rhythm that didn't revolve around someone else's content calendar. I threw myself into work, took on bigger projects, started freelancing on the side, made more money than I had working for one company. Matt dragged me to a bar one Friday night. You need to get out more, he insisted. You're becoming a hermit. I like being a hermit. Well, hermit at a bar, with beer, and maybe talk to a human who isn't me. The place was crowded, loud, full of people performing their best lives for each other. I nursed my drink and watched them, wondering how many were authentic and how many were just better actors than Evelyn. A woman sat down next to me. Early 30s, professional but casual, drinking whiskey neat. You look like you're conducting a social experiment, she said. Sorry? The way you're watching everyone, like you're taking notes. Just people watching. Uh-huh, I'm Sarah. Kevin. So, Kevin, what brings you to a crowded bar on a Friday night if you're just going to people watch? Friend insisted I needed to get out more. And do you? Probably, she laughed. Honest, I like that. Most guys would have made up some story about how social they are. I'm too tired to lie. Bad day? Bad year. Want to talk about it? I looked at her. Really looked at her. No ring light makeup, no camera angles, just a person having a drink, making conversation. Not really, I said. But I wouldn't mind hearing about your day. She smiled. My day was boring. Meetings, the usual corporate nonsense. But I did convince my boss to finally upgrade our servers, which felt like a small victory. You work in IT? Systems architecture? You? Software engineering? Ah, a fellow code monkey. What's your specialty? We talked for 2 hours. About work, about technology, about nothing in particular. She didn't ask for my social media. Didn't pull out her phone to document the conversation. Just talked. When she left, she gave me her number. If you ever want to grab coffee and complain about legacy code, call me. I watched her go, then looked down at the napkin with her number. Matt appeared at my shoulder. You just got a girl's number. Seems that way. You going to call her? Maybe. That's progress, man. Is it? Compared to where you were 2 months ago? Yeah, that's progress. He was right. 2 months ago, I'd been so focused on revenge that I couldn't see past it. Now, sitting in a crowded bar with a napkin in my pocket, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. hope. Small, fragile, but there. I called Sarah 3 days later. We met for coffee, then dinner, then a movie. She was easy to be around. No pretense, no performance, just herself. On our 4th date, she asked about my last relationship. It ended badly, I said. How badly? She turned our marriage into content for her social media following. Planned a public breakup as a viral moment. Sarah set down her wine. Jesus, that's horrible. Yeah. What did you do? I gave her a choice. Confess what she'd been doing or I'd expose it all myself. And? She confessed. Lost her followers, her career, everything. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Do you regret it? Which part? The marriage or the revenge? Both. I thought about it. Really thought about it. I regret the marriage. I regret not seeing who she really was sooner. But the rest? No. She needed to face consequences. People can't just use others and walk away clean. But you used her too, in a way. Used the situation to hurt her back. I did. Does that make you the same as her? I don't know. Maybe. But I'm working on being better. Sarah reached across the table, took my hand. We're all working on being better. The difference is whether we're actually willing to change. Are you? I asked. Willing to change? Every day. It's the only way to stay human. I squeezed her hand, felt something warm spread through my chest. Maybe Matt was right. Maybe this was progress. 3 months after the party, I was walking through downtown when I saw her. Evelyn. She was sitting alone at a coffee shop, laptop open, no phone in sight. She looked different. Hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, no makeup, wearing jeans and a sweater. Normal, almost invisible. She saw me at the same moment. Our eyes met through the window. For a second, neither of us moved. Then she stood up and walked outside. Kevin, she said. Evelyn. We stood there on the sidewalk, 2 people who'd destroyed each other, trying to figure out what to say. I'm in therapy, she said finally. Real therapy, twice a week. That's good. My therapist says I have narcissistic tendencies, that I've been using people as emotional props my entire life. What do you think? I think she's right. I think I've been performing for so long that I forgot how to be real. I nodded, didn't know what to say. I'm sorry, she continued, for everything, for what I did to you, for what I did to us. You deserved better. Yeah, I did. Are you happy now? The question surprised me. I'm getting there. You? I'm working on it. Got a job at a marketing firm, junior position, starting over. It's humbling. Humbling's not a bad thing. No, it's not. She hesitated. I saw you were seeing someone. Sarah, right? How did you... I still check your social media sometimes. Old habits. You should stop. I know, I'm trying. We stood there for another moment, the city flowing around us, indifferent to our history. I should go, she said. Yeah. She started to walk away, then turned back. Kevin, thank you. For what? For stopping me, that night at the party. If you hadn't, I would have kept going until there was nothing left of me. You saved me from myself, even if it didn't feel like it at the time. She walked away before I could respond. I stood there on the sidewalk, watching her disappear into the crowd, feeling something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, exactly, but maybe the beginning of letting go. My phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Still on for dinner tonight? Absolutely. See you at 7. I put my phone away and headed home, feeling lighter somehow. 6 months after everything fell apart, I was sitting in my apartment working on a freelance project when I got an email from an unknown address. Subject line, opportunity. I almost deleted it as spam, but something made me open it. Mr. Wright, my name is Derek Palmer. I'm a literary agent with Palmer & Associates. I've been following your story, or rather your ex-wife's story, and I think there might be a book in it. The perspective of someone on the other side of influencer culture, the human cost of content creation. I'd love to discuss this with you if you're interested. Best, Derek, I read it twice. A book. About Evelyn. About what happened. I could write it, tell my side, maybe make some money, maybe help other people who'd been used and manipulated, or I could delete the email and move on. I thought about it for a long time. Thought about Evelyn sitting in that coffee shop, starting over. Thought about Sarah and the life we were building. Thought about the Chen family and their recovered college fund. Thought about who I wanted to be. Then I hit delete. Because the best revenge wasn't destroying someone's life or profiting off their mistakes. It was moving on and being happy without them. Evelyn didn't get to be a chapter in my story anymore. She was just someone I used to know. A year after the video went live, Sarah and I moved in together. Nothing dramatic. Just a quiet merging of lives. Her books next to mine. Her coffee maker replacing my cheap one. Her laughter filling spaces that had been silent too long. We were unpacking boxes when she found it. A USB drive labeled Evidence. "What's this?" she asked. "Nothing. Old files." "From her?" "Yeah." "You kept it?" I took the drive from her hand. I forgot I had it. "What's on it?" "Everything. Screenshots, videos, transaction records, all the leverage I used." Sarah looked at me. "Why didn't you delete it?" "I don't know. Insurance, maybe. Or just, I don't know." "Kevin, you need to let it go. All of it." "I have." "Have you?" "You're still carrying around evidence from a year ago." "That's not letting go. That's staying armed." She was right. Of course she was right. I took the USB drive to the kitchen, pulled out a hammer, and smashed it, destroyed it completely. The plastic cracked, the components scattered across the counter. Sarah wrapped her arms around me from behind. "Feel better?" "Yeah. Actually, I do." That night we cooked dinner together, laughed about nothing, made plans for the weekend. Normal, boring things. The kind of things I'd learned to appreciate. Matt got engaged that fall, asked me to be his best man. We celebrated at the same bar where I'd met Sarah. "Never thought I'd see you happy again," he said, already 3 beers in. "Neither did I. You did good, man, with everything, the way you handled it. I almost didn't, almost took it too far. But you didn't. That's what matters." "Is it?" "Yeah. Evelyn destroyed herself. You just refused to be collateral damage. There's a difference." "Sometimes I'm not sure there is." Matt leaned back, studied me. "You still think about her?" "Sometimes. Wonder how she's doing. If she ever figured out who she is without the cameras." "You could check. Look her up." "I could, but I won't." "Why not?" "Because whatever she is now, whoever she became, it's not my business anymore. We're not connected. We're just 2 people who hurt each other and survived." "That's very mature of you." "I'm trying." Sarah appeared, 3 drinks in hand. "What are we talking about?" "Old ghosts," Matt said. "Well, stop. Tonight's about celebrating. Matt's getting married. We're all happy." She was right, and I was finally ready to let it stay buried. 2 years after the party, I got a LinkedIn message from Evelyn. Simple. Professional. "Hi, Kevin. I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to let you know that I'm doing much better. I've been working on myself, and I think I'm finally becoming someone I can be proud of. I'm not asking for friendship or forgiveness. Just wanted you to know that the work you forced me to do on myself, as painful as it was, saved my life. Thank you. Take care, Evelyn." I read it 3 times. Then I typed a response. "I'm glad you're doing better. Truly. Take care of yourself." Short, clean, final. I showed it to Sarah before sending. "You sure?" she asked. "Yeah. She needed to know I don't hate her, but I also don't need her in my life. That's healthy. I'm learning." I sent the message and closed LinkedIn. That night, Sarah and I talked about the future, about maybe getting married, about kids, about building something real and lasting, about all the boring, beautiful things that make a life. 5 years after everything fell apart, Matt's wedding arrived. Big affair, 200 people, open bar. I stood next to him at the altar and watched him marry the woman he loved. During the reception, I saw her, Evelyn. She was there as someone's +1 standing near the bar, looking uncomfortable. She'd changed, looked older, more real somehow, less polished, more human. Our eyes met across the room. She gave me a small nod. I nodded back. Then we both looked away. Sarah appeared at my elbow. That her? Yeah. You want to leave? No, this is Matt's day. I'm not going to let old history ruin it. You've come a long way. We both have. The reception continued. Speeches were made. Cake was cut. People danced and laughed and celebrated love. I didn't speak to Evelyn. Didn't need to. We'd both moved on, become different people. The versions of us that had hurt each other no longer existed. As Sarah and I left that night, walking to the car under stars, she asked me a question. Do you ever regret how it all went down? The revenge, the confrontation, all of it? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said finally, because it taught me who I am, what I'm capable of, both the good and the bad, and that's valuable. Would you do it again? I hope I never have to. But if someone tried to destroy me again? Yeah. I'd fight back, just maybe with less collateral damage. She laughed. At least you're honest. I learned that from you. We drove home in comfortable silence, and I realized something important. The price of silence wasn't what I'd thought it was. It wasn't about keeping quiet while someone destroyed you. It was about knowing when to speak and when to simply walk away. And I'd finally learned the difference. Epilogue. 10 years later, I was sitting in my home office, different apartment, different city, different life, when I got a notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. I almost ignored it. But curiosity won. It was from Evelyn. She'd written a book, a memoir about influencer culture, about addiction to validation, about the human cost of content creation. The dedication read, "To Kevin, who taught me that sometimes the greatest act of love is letting someone face their consequences." I sat there for a long time, staring at that dedication. Then I closed the browser and went to find Sarah and our daughter, who was playing in the living room. Real life, unfiltered, undocumented, the only kind worth living. The price of silence, extended. I didn't buy Evelyn's book. Didn't need to read her version of events. But Sarah did, out of curiosity, and left it on the coffee table one evening. You should read it, she said. Why? Because she's honest. Brutally honest. About everything. About what she did to you. About who she was. I lived it. I don't need to read about it. It's not for closure, it's for perspective. She writes about you differently than I expected. I picked up the book. The cover was simple, minimalist. Performing for No One, a memoir of authenticity lost and found by Evelyn Wright. She'd kept my last name. Interesting. I opened to a random page. Kevin wasn't boring. I was. I'd become so dependent on external validation that I'd lost the ability to find value in quiet moments, in simple pleasures, in the kind of steady love that doesn't make for viral content. He offered me everything I needed, and I threw it away because it wasn't what I wanted. Or rather, what I thought I wanted. What my audience wanted. I closed the book. She doesn't paint herself as a victim, Sarah said. She takes full responsibility, even thanks you for forcing her to confront herself. Good for her. Kevin, you're allowed to feel something about this. You don't have to be so stoic. What do you want me to feel? Happy that she's profiting off our failed marriage? Angry that she's telling our story to strangers? I want you to feel whatever's real. I set the book down. I feel nothing. And that's okay. She's not my responsibility anymore. Not my concern. She wrote a book. Good. Maybe it helps someone. But it doesn't change what happened or who we are now. Sarah nodded. okay. I just wanted to make sure you knew about it. I appreciate that, but I'm done looking backward. The book stayed on the coffee table for a week. I walked past it every day, never touching it. Finally, Sarah moved it to her bookshelf, and I stopped thinking about it. Mostly. Our daughter Emma turned 3 that spring. We threw a party at our house, small, intimate, just family and close friends. Matt brought his wife and their twin boys. My parents drove in from out of state. Sarah's sister came with her husband. No cameras, no social media posts. Just people being present. Emma opened presents with the pure joy only a 3-year-old can muster. Sarah's homemade cake was lopsided but delicious. Matt's boys destroyed the backyard playing tag. Normal, beautiful, real. My mother pulled me aside while we were cleaning up. "You seem happy," she said. "I am. After everything with Evelyn, I worried you wouldn't recover. That you'd become bitter. I almost did. But you didn't. You chose differently. I had help." I gestured toward Sarah, who was helping Emma with a new toy. "She's good for you. But you did the work. You chose to heal instead of staying wounded." "Did I, though? Or did I just get lucky?" My mother smiled. "You make your own luck, Kevin. You always have." After everyone left, after Emma was asleep, Sarah and I sat on the back porch with wine and exhaustion. "Good day," she said. "Great day. Emma loved everything. She's easy to please, unlike her mother." Sarah laughed. "I'm not that bad. You made me repaint the nursery 3 times. I was pregnant. Hormones." "Uh-huh." We sat in comfortable silence, listening to neighborhood sounds. Dogs barking, cars passing, life happening all around us. "Do you ever wonder what your life would be like if you'd stayed with Evelyn?" Sarah asked. "No." "Never?" "Okay, maybe sometimes, but not in a wistful way. More like dodging a bullet way. What do you think would have happened?" I thought about it. I think eventually she would have discarded me completely. Once I stopped being useful for content, once the divorce story arc played out, she would have moved on to the next narrative, and I would have been left trying to pick up pieces of myself. But instead I forced the confrontation, made her face consequences, and yeah, it was ugly and brutal and probably not my finest moment, but it freed both of us. No regrets? About leaving her? None. About how I did it? Some. I could have been less cruel, less calculating. You were hurt. Hurt people. Doesn't make it right. Sarah leaned her head on my shoulder. "You're a good man, Kevin Wright." "I'm working on it." 6 months later, I got an email from a documentary filmmaker named Rebecca Torres. She was making a film about influencer culture and its impact on relationships. She wanted to interview me. I declined. She persisted. Sent 3 more emails over 2 weeks, each one more persuasive than the last. Finally, she called. "Mr. Wright, I understand your hesitation, but your story is important. People need to understand what happens when relationships become content. My story is private. It stopped being private when your ex-wife posted that video. I'm not trying to exploit you. I'm trying to shine a light on a growing problem. Find someone else. There is no one else, not with your perspective. Everyone I've interviewed has been an influencer or wants to be one. You're the only person I've found who was on the other side, who was used as content. And you think that gives you the right to my story? No, but it gives me the responsibility to tell it, with or without you. Is that a threat? It's a fact. I'm making this documentary. Your ex-wife has agreed to participate. Several of her former friends have agreed. I'd rather have your voice included than make it without you." I was quiet for a moment. "Evelyn agreed?" "Yes. She thinks it's important, that others need to learn from her mistakes." "Of course she does. Another opportunity for attention." "That's not fair. From what I've seen, she's genuinely trying to help people." "You don't know her. And you don't know her anymore. People change, Mr. Wright." She had a point. "I'll think about it," I said. That's all I ask. But I need an answer soon. We start filming next month. She hung up. I told Sarah about it that night. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. Part of me wants to participate, tell my side, but another part just wants to leave it buried. What does your gut say? My gut says run, but my brain says this might help other people who are in similar situations. Then do it for them, not for Evelyn, not for yourself, for the people who need to hear that they're not alone. I looked at my wife, this woman who'd helped me rebuild myself, and realized she was right. Okay, I said, I'll do it. The interview took place in a neutral location, a hotel conference room downtown. Rebecca and her crew set up lights and cameras while I waited, nervous energy making my hands shake. Just be honest, Rebecca said. Tell your truth. That's all anyone can ask. The cameras started rolling. State your name for the record. Kevin Wright. And your relationship to Evelyn Wright? Ex-husband. Can you tell me about your marriage? I took a breath. We met 7 years ago. She was starting her social media career. I was working as a software engineer. We fell in love, or what I thought was love. Got married after 2 years of dating. When did things start to change? Gradually. She got more followers, more opportunities. Her whole life became about content creation. At first, I thought it was just ambition, drive. But it became obsessive. Everything was a photo op. Every moment had to be documented. Including your marriage? Especially our marriage. She started posting about our relationship. Personal moments became public property. Arguments became content. I became a character in her narrative. How did that make you feel? Used, like I wasn't a person anymore, just a prop in her production. Tell me about the video. I paused. Even after all these years, talking about it was difficult. She posted a video announcing our relationship was over. She filmed it in our bedroom with her affair partner, tagged me, made sure I'd see it, and she'd planned the whole thing, had it scripted, scheduled, optimized for engagement. What was your first reaction? Honestly? Clarity. I'd known something was wrong for months, but seeing it laid out so explicitly, seeing how calculated it all was, it freed me from doubt. I knew exactly who she was and what I needed to do. Which was? Protect myself. Fight back. Make sure she didn't get to control the narrative. Some people might say what you did was revenge. Some people would be right. It was revenge. But it was also self-preservation. She was planning to humiliate me publicly. I just got there first. Do you regret it? I thought carefully. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that our marriage ended in mutual destruction. But do I regret standing up for myself? No. Have you spoken to Evelyn since the divorce? Once, briefly. She apologized. I acknowledged it. We moved on. Do you forgive her? I don't know. Forgiveness is complicated. I don't hate her. I don't wish her harm, but I also don't forget what she did. Maybe that's forgiveness. Maybe it's just acceptance. What would you say to people in similar situations? Get out. If someone is using you as content, if your relationship exists for public consumption, get out. It's not going to get better. It's not going to change. You deserve to be loved as a person, not as a character. And to the influencers watching this, remember that the people in your life are real. They're not NPCs in your story. They have feelings, needs, boundaries. Your content should never come at the expense of someone else's humanity. Rebecca smiled. Thank you, Kevin. That was powerful. The cameras stopped. I felt drained, exposed, but also lighter somehow. Like I'd finally said everything I needed to say. The documentary premiered 8 months later at a film festival. Rebecca invited me to attend, but I declined, sent Sarah instead. She came home late, eyes red. You okay? I asked. It's good, really good, and hard to watch. They made me look bad? No, they made you look human. Flawed but sympathetic. Evelyn too, actually. The whole thing is just sad. Two people who destroyed each other because one couldn't stop performing. Did they interview her? Yeah. She talks about her addiction to validation, about how she lost herself. She cries during parts of it. Real tears, I think. And me? You come across as someone who fought back maybe too hard, but for understandable reasons. The filmmaker doesn't take sides, just presents both perspectives. How does it end? With both of you talking about moving forward, about healing, about how relationships can't survive when one person treats the other as content. I nodded. Good. That's the right message. Kevin, there's something else. What? At the Q&A after, someone asked Evelyn if she'd ever want to talk to you again. To really talk, not just apologize. What did she say? She said yes. That she thinks you're the only person who truly understands what happened. That she'd like closure. We have closure. Do you? I looked at my wife. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe you should meet with her. Not for her, for you. To really put it all to rest. I have put it to rest. Have you? You still tense up when her name comes up. You avoided her book. You didn't go to the premiere. That's not closure. That's avoidance. She wasn't wrong. I don't know if I'm ready, I said. Then wait until you are. But don't wait forever. Life's too short for unfinished business.